Welcome again. Thank you so much for spending your time in watching this video, because this video is going to be super important. Welcome, my friends. You are watching the Better Future Project, where we're all about spreading positivity, sharing knowledge, and having a good time together. So Elon Musk said cybercab. Now, I do believe that this is gonna be probably the name of the autonomous cars that are going to be built on a cheaper platforms, which will be combination between the current platforms and the unbox process all together, and then the car will be much cheaper. And of course, if FSD is solved until then, Tesla has confirmed that they will be running their own fleet of taxi cars. Does this mean dividends are coming? I don't know. We're going to find out. However, Tesla cybercab, it has all these little nuances that I can hear. Now, if this is true and Elon Musk wants to do a cybercab, that means the way they build the Cybertruck will be probably very close to the way they're going to build the Cybercab. If that's going to happen, I don't know, but the exoskeleton for a taxi would be amazing. No scratches, almost no maintenance. It's electric vehicles, the cheapest cars to run for long periods of time. It just sounds good to me, like a music for my ears. So cybercab is hopefully coming. We're going to definitely hear more on 8th of August. Stay tuned for that. And until then, we will just monitor how Tesla is currently developing. Okay. And a little bonus from me, guys, to you. There is a great book called The Richest Man in Babylon. There are some lessons for how to invest, and this book has been written, or these rules or laws, whatever you want to call them, has been written thousands of years ago, and the rules seems to be still applicable for today's economy. So one of the rules that I really like into the book is about get the right advice from the right person. So if you want an advice for bricklaying, then make sure that you ask a bricklayer. If you want an advice for building cars, make sure that you ask the engineers. But please don't ask travelers about diamonds or gold or whatnot, because this is not their expertise. Let's look back into this basic lesson. So ask people that know what they've done it for a long time, and they have been successful in a longer run, including when the economy hasn't been as great or as good, and they've still survived. So running through a couple of crashes and still making well, and still growing their business or their knowledge or their expertise, definitely people to talk to. So one of my favorite guys, who is a billionaire, with capital B, is Ron Baron. So let's hear what he has to say about what's gonna happen with Tesla till the end of 2024. And also, don't forget, he is an investor, not a trader. So what has happened in Q1 or Q2 is something that he's not really particularly bothered about this. What he will say to the investors and the people that are watching the interview that he has managed to do is important. So let's watch it, let's discuss it, and let's see what Ron Baron has to tell us.
That stake, I remember when you sold a few years ago, when you sold that stake, you did it because you were worried about the portfolio being too heavily invested in one particular stock.
It's gone up 20 times, yes.
It's gone up 20 times. Do you hit?
That's true. So Ron Baron is running an investment fund, so they have rules. And if one stock is kind of growing too fast, too quick, and he makes like what he says 20 times the return of the investment, then he needs to trim this position. However, bear in mind, guys, that Ron Baron has never sold a single share of Tesla stock that he personally owns.
Hit that point again, do you have to trim more just because you now have $3 billion? What did you say, $4 billion?
I've got $4 billion, yeah.
At $3 billion as of 3/31 today, it must be $4 billion?
It's around, I don't know, it's around $3.5–4 billion, something like that.
But the reason that you gave in the past wasn't that you didn't believe in it.
It was just too big of an investment.
It was just too big of an investment,
Yes.
so you hit that point again.
Yes. Well, at some point, maybe. But I think SpaceX is going to be, I think we're going to make 20 times in SpaceX over the next 15 years. I think we're going to make a quadruple in the next 6 or 7.
So just a little pause here. Ron Baron is not only a billionaire who is investing in Tesla, he is also liking other companies run by Elon Musk, and one of them, of course, is SpaceX. Don't forget, SpaceX can be an unlimited growth there. We're talking about satellites, we're talking about internet providing, in the future colonizing of other planets, and of course probably mining meteors, maybe some sort of moons. We just don't know, but SpaceX is definitely having a huge future, and probably Tesla can provide some of their Tesla bots to help SpaceX to colonize the space. Let's continue on Ron Baron.
Sure. So I'm always watching.
Just because you're managing other people's money.
But I do think that we're going to get a lot more money to manage, so therefore it's going to get diluted down by the new money coming in. Always thinking about how large the position should be, yes. But
what do you think right now? The stock came out, the earnings this week came out. It was a disappointment for the quarter. It was the worst cash flow quarter that the company's seen in its history, but the stock was up 12% because Elon started talking about what he sees in the future and the idea of bringing out cheaper cars to go through these things. Where do you stand on what the company should be valued?
So I know Joe's not a big believer in electric cars because he likes his Porsche. But I think all the cars are going to be electric, and I think this hybrid is just a sort of a holding off action so automobile companies don't have to lose money on the electric cars. But the electric cars, I think, is going to be all the cars 10, 15 years from now. And I think hybrids, I know you love hybrids, that's not...
John Baron is absolutely right. Electric cars are the future. All economies will transition to renewable energies. And of course, electric cars will play a big role of it because it will give a lot of independence for each country. Currently, we can see that some resources are a problem and wars can actually start and being ignited because of some resources. So moving towards the renewable energy resources, the wind, the sun, and other sources of energy, we definitely know that this is going to be owned by the majority of the public. So Ron Baron is absolutely right. Electric cars are the future, period. And even though the American president is not a big fan of electric vehicles, the planet needs it, people likes it, and I would personally prefer to have a cleaner air for me and eventually in the future for our families and our friends and kids and grandchildren and whatnot. And of course, I can hear that Ron Baron is about to talk about the hybrids. They don't have any future according to me. Let's see what Ron Baron has to say about it.
They're too expensive and they're not effective enough, and they're not going to be part of the mix either. So they're going to be all electric. And so what I think is going to happen is that the reason the stock is down is not because of the quarter. The reason the stock is down.
Well, stock's up because of the stuff that he
Well,
said.
the stock's down so much.
Well, it's down 35% year to date. It's down 1%, or it's up 1% over the course of the last year.
Yeah, it's not so exciting to be up 1% in a year when everything is, the market is so strong. I don't worry about short term, but I do look around all the time and see everyone getting rich, and I'm not poor, but I haven't made a lot of progress in the last 3 years. So therefore, I think it's like a rubber band. I'm going to catch up again.
And he's absolutely right. I love this saying, it's going to be as a rubber band and I'm going to catch up. Actually, Tesla will be one of the most, at least it has a real shot to become one of the most valuable companies out there, because the technology that Tesla is building, the gigafactories that Tesla is building, is something that not very many companies has the expertise to build and the money to build, because I can hear 100 million there and 200 million there for this electric vehicle manufacturer and that electric vehicle manufacturer. But firstly, they all lose money, so they don't know how to produce electric vehicles profitably. And secondly, let's talk about proper investments. Tesla is investing, or Elon Musk, under the guidance of Elon Musk, our so-called techno king or CEO, whatever you want to call him, he is investing billions in research, in capital expenditures, which means that, we are talking about like in order of magnitude. Some of the projects Elon Musk is running are so expensive that you can fit a whole company like GM's valuation into simple one project. So you can see the differences between how much Elon is investing and what the rest are doing. It's just too big of a gap. The rest of the automotive producer and car manufacturers, they just don't stand a chance against the giant Tesla is going to become and to be. And I think Ron Baron is right. Tesla is going to grow, and he's right as well to look at it as an investor, because if you are able to wait 3 to 5 to 8 years, you are gonna probably see like 10x of your investments, if not more.
So what I think about the reason stock is down is because people were concerned that he was going to abandon the idea of having a low-cost car and go all into robo-taxis. That's the reason stock is down. And then there was a report in Reuters said he's canceling this new factory that's going to make robo-cars. He's going to make low-cost cars, $25,000 cars, competition from China. So there's only one company in China that's profitable, by the way. That's BYD, Warren's company, Buffett's company. And that's a company that makes $1 billion a quarter, and our company makes $4 billion a quarter. No.
So he's also talking about the differences between the two companies. You look at the numbers of cars that BYD is selling, it really doesn't mean much today. Because if they have made 1 billion in profit in a quarter, that means in 3 months time of the year, Tesla has done 4 billion, 6 billion, 7 billion in the past. So you can clearly see that there is a huge difference into the amount of money that these two car manufacturers are making. And of course, these are the only two car manufacturers of fully electric vehicles that are actually profitable. Let's not forget, of course, that Tesla is also reinvesting back. So if we're looking in the future, few quarters from now, if BYD is reinvesting back into the BYD vehicles and producing new types of technology, like eventually improving the ways how the cars are manufactured, or eventually working on the batteries, we're talking that Tesla will be able to do 4, 5, 6x times that. So we're talking about a massive differences between the companies, and there is a long run that Tesla is going to do, especially with the last quarter when the energy storage department of the Tesla story, or I like to call it the Tesla EFT, we can look into it, and we can see that it has actually brought in significant profits. Now, this is so great to see, because we do know that the electrical storage systems, or BESS, they like to call it, they are going to be deployed across the world. That's not a one-place thing. They are in Australia, they are in UK, they are in USA, they are in other countries in Europe. And we can see that they probably do the same thing in China. I don't know about China, because I haven't heard much about it. But what I do know is that they are about to complete a factory that is going to produce more big batteries to be deployed to stabilize the grids around the world.
Almost makes money. Ford loses so much. General, everyone loses money on this. It's much more complicated to make this. It's interesting. I was talking yesterday about motors. So motors in a car cost $5,000 a car. That's what the normal, these 100-year-old companies, cost them $5,000. We can make a motor for $1,000. Cost $5,000. So they get.
But then you have to have a battery that's more expensive.
I know. I'm talking about if you're making the internal combustion engine cars. I'm just talking about how stagnant businesses become and how used they are to operating the way they've always operated. That they don't look for new things to do, new ways to operating oriented toward making things cheaper. He can do things for $1,000 that other people cost $5,000. It's amazing.
Ron Brown is onto something here. He is a billionaire because he understands how companies are working, and he is absolutely right. If you don't innovate, and if you don't innovate right into the future's technologies, into technologies that are cheaper and they can actually be disrupting ones, then your company is about to die. It has always happened into the human history. We know that the companies that are innovative, that create new products, and the products are absolutely shattering the old ones in sales, in numbers of growth, in profits. That's exactly what we're seeing here. So we do know that the electric vehicle batteries as a price are going lower and lower and lower, which means that Tesla is going to be able to actually bring the price of the car even lower. So if you can produce an electric motor that is about $1,000, but you've got cars with internal combustion engines that cost $5,000, then you've got something to look into. Because the electric vehicles are the future. They're going to be cheaper, safer, and cleaner. And the best of all is that there is only two companies that are making significant profits and significant innovations. That is BYD and Tesla. And Tesla is continuing to invest billions of billions. So thanks to Ron Baron, I like to listen to people that are successful, not because of a book that I just mentioned earlier on, The Richest Man in Babylon, but also because it just makes sense. Thanks to this interview, thanks to the information I'm currently getting, I'm actually about to invest 50% of my portfolio into Tesla. And I'm about to do this tomorrow on Friday. So fingers crossed that things are going to go into the right direction, because now half of my portfolio will be only Tesla.
Thank you for watching today's episode. If you're a fan of the channel, you can contribute small monthly amounts on Patreon. This will help me to improve my content and my videos. Also, if you enjoy the channel, please subscribe, like, and of course click the notification bells so you never miss another episode. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.